Most of us don't have a blacksmith in our neighborhood, so it was very enlightening to have the opportunity to interview Matthew Shirey, an Appalachian blacksmith. Matthew's forge is in Sylva, North Carolina. It's small but very useful.
I started by taking a weekend workshop at a state park in Pennsylvania where I grew up, and after a couple days kind of knew that I just loved it. It was something I really wanted to do, so I started getting my equipment together. I bought a little forge from one of the guys that taught the class and borrowed an anvil from somebody and started doing it. Mostly just self-taught, just trial and error, reading books, watching videos, bugging other blacksmiths that I've met over the years to give me some instruction. I'd rather be here working in the shop than doing anything else. I think it's important for us as a culture, as a community, as a region, because it's one of the most important crafts throughout the history of the human story. Without blacksmithing and the ability to work metal, we wouldn't have computers and cars and all the things that we have today. There's a saying, with hammer in hand, all crafts do stand, which means that the blacksmithing is the root craft that makes all the tools for the woodworkers and the leather workers and the seamstress.
When we gathered at his forge, Matthew talked about how his work connects to resilience and how his craft is at the root of everything.
I'm very heavily influenced by early American frontier culture and the culture of the Southern Appalachians here. People here didn't make things fancy. They made them very functional. They could be beautiful, and often are, but the function was the primary purpose. And people didn't have money and time to embellish things and make them real fancy. They just wanted something that would serve them well every day.
Matthew's main products are frying pans, knives, forks, and axes. He shared that what seems most appealing to the people is the aesthetically pleasing quality of his raw, unfinished look.
Kind of speaks to the Appalachian traditions because it's very simple. I use domestic hardwoods for my handles, locally harvested materials like walnut, cherry, and maple. I leave a lot of forge texture and kind of evidence of the process in my work.
Yeah.
And if you looked at the things made in these mountains over the last 200 or 300 years, they didn't embellish them. Like the long rifles and stuff that they made back then. Up north, they were making them with fancy brass and silver inlays and carved stocks. Here in the Southern Appalachians, the beauty is kind of in the function more than the aesthetic. Maintaining a traditional craft is important for you guys, knowing how things are made. We live in a culture and a world today where you go to the Walmart, you buy everything you need, you have no idea where it came from, you don't know the people it came from, you don't know how it was made, and so maintaining a craft like this where you guys can actually see how it's done, and it's been done this way for thousands of years, it hasn't really changed much. So this is one of my frying pans, and I think the forged texture and the evidence of the process and the handle and the pan, the hand forged rivets, that just draws people in. I just think that's incredibly important for everybody, for us as a society and a culture to know those things.